good morning. It's the first presentation. We're maybe not really awake, so I want to keep it light as well. So this presentation is pretty light, to be honest. And actually, before I tell you about what my presentation is, I would like to explain something before, like this word perception. Like we talked about it yesterday, this word perception. It's really, John said as well, that it's really important how you are perceived with your presentation. But I also think it's good to look at the other side, like how we perceive. This is a topic that interests me a lot actually, and I read a book about it once, and I found this topic and some images, and I was like, man, this is brilliant. So this is something I really want to share with you. But before this, I would like to do a kind of interaction, like a kind of game. So I think everyone has notes and a pen, so maybe you can just take a blank sheet and a pen. So all of you. And if you can, write this down on your paper, exactly like it's written here. So you start with the top, so you create the shape as well with the numbers. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, until you're at the 5 2s at the bottom. And this is a kind of experiment that I read about on the internet. Maybe it won't work with you at all, but at least I want to try it and see if it really works. And anyways, it's good to start in and talk about this topic. So actually what I want to do with you as well is like yesterday we had to speak aloud. You guys were making sounds as well, like and me, and everyone had to do it a little bit, me as well. And actually I want to do the same with you. I want you to take your pen, the top of your pen, and start with the first 2 and just go over all the 2s. And when you do that, you say 2 out loud. So you do 2, 2, 2 until you're at the bottom. So maybe we can all do it together at one moment and start at the first 2.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Well, excellent, guys. So now the next number that you write down, I just wrote it down here, so I just need to see what number it was. So the next number you need to write down now is number 14. Just write down number 14.
14?
14, 1 4. Yeah, sorry, it's my Dutch accent. And the next number now is number 18, so 1 8. And the last number is number 24. So now I'm going to ask you a question, and you need to respond very quickly. And the answer you write on the paper, but very quickly. Don't think about it too long. So if you think about if you need to think about a vegetable, what vegetable comes up in your head? Just write it down right away. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna look for the answer. Maybe it's a total flop. I don't know. I never tried it before, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to ask you, what is the name of the vegetable that you wrote?
Carrot.
Precisely.
Turnip.
What?
Turnip.
Really?
It looks, yeah.
Yeah?
Carrot.
Yeah?
Cucumber.
Broccoli.
Broccoli, really. It's interesting, but the answer is there somewhere. But actually, what happens when people do this exercise, 90% of the target group writes down carrot. So there are 2 in the group, so well done. Some were a bit more creative with some veggies I never heard of. But,
Turnip.
so, and the reason, exactly, I'm going to come to the reason. The reason for this is that it has kind of a shape as a carrot. And you don't realize it, but it's in your subconsciousness. And I think that's really interesting. So that's why I use the word perception as well, you know, it's how we perceive. And this leads to the topic, actually, I want to talk about. And that's subliminal messaging. What is subliminal messaging? I don't know, did you guys hear about it before, subliminal messaging? Yeah?
Yes.
Well, I will give you the definition before I really go into it. So the definition, it's just a little bit of text, but it's very simple. So it's a message that's delivered beneath the human consciousness threshold of perception. So basically it means it's a message. You don't see it, you didn't read it, but it's in your head, and at the end you will act upon it. And I will give you a few examples on it. You can do that in different ways. So it's like a message that flashes so quickly, and like I said, you don't recognize it. But it also can be a sound. So like a sound in a song or something like that that touches onto an emotion. You don't hear it, but your emotion is there, and it's a very little sound, very little pitch or something. And what's really important is like embedding the form of subliminal persuasion. So yeah, through images. And actually, I want to show you something. Like I want to hear another image here. It's Heineken. It's our favorite beer in Holland. It's not the best beer, but I'm not that proud of it. But I think the beer here in Dublin is much better. But when you look at this picture, look at the shape and everything. What do you see? Just don't be embarrassed. Just say what you see. Yeah?
Boom. You see a bomb at the bottom.
Okay, I knew it was you that was going to say. Okay, a bomb. And actually, you're right. It is a bomb when you turn it upside down. So exactly, this is subliminal messaging. So it's not really pointed out, but you kind of see it, you know. And there's also like, yeah, I think this is very similar to it. That's subliminal messaging, and it's almost the same. But this is what we all see, and the difference between the two definitions is this word consciously, because here we realize that we see it. So that's, think about product placement, all the James Bond movies where you see the watches, the cars, all that, you realize that. So you're conscious about that. And again, it's an image so faint that it's difficult to see, but you kind of realize it. The same with the sound, you hear it, it's very quiet, but you realize it, but you don't know what the effect is on it. So where does it come from, subliminal? Who came up with it? Where does it come from? It's actually James Vickery, which is a market research in 1957. What he did actually, it was a movie called Picnic. What he did, really, it was like really, not even a second, really fast image. He had two images. One was like, I like to eat popcorn or something like that, and I want to drink a Coke. And it was so quick, you could not see it, you could not realize it. But it was in your head somewhere. So what happened after that, everyone started buying popcorn and Cokes as well for the next movie. And actually, also the assumption is like the popcorn sales increased with 58%, and the Coke sales increased with 18% even. So it has an effect. Well, there are a lot of people discussing about it. Some people said it might be a fraud, that they just wanted to boost the marketing numbers, and that it's not really true. But yeah, like you saw with the images before, you see kind of a thing, and yeah, you don't really realize it, but it's there, and a lot of brands do that, like sex sells as well, like you saw with the bottles before, like the round shapes, the feminine side. So here, another picture. What do you see here? Like if you look at the back part of the car, is there a brand that comes into your mind?
See like a barcode.
Yeah, that's true. That's very good. You saw a barcode. But if you need to think about a brand and a product, to what kind of product would you link it? Don't think about it too long. You see the car, you see the kind of shape there, you see a barcode, look at the colors. No? Nothing pops up? It's no problem. I will show you actually what it is. See Marlboro. So here you see all the lines. And actually, because nowadays it's not allowed anymore to advertise on cigarettes and everything, they still invested $1 billion in this. And they're just so clever. You see, you don't see it, but at the end, it's somewhere in the back of your head as well. Yeah, of course. I'm going to show it to you again. You see? And it even, what I think, it even looks like a pack of cigarettes. This is the top. This is the one you open, and this is the rest of the.
Funny thing is, I actually wanted to say pack of cigarettes, but I thought it's too far away.
No, that's what I saw in it as well. And I think it's unbelievably smart. So even if you cannot put the brand name out there, you can still do your marketing with kind of subliminal messaging. Yeah. And here, that's with cigarette brands. Yeah. So just to go on cigarette brands, this is a bit more difficult. I'm just going to help you out with this one a little bit. Look at this part of the picture. Yeah. So of the camel. So especially at the leg. Can you see there something in the leg? It's a bit difficult because maybe the quality of the image is not that good. It's very difficult, I think, to see from here maybe. Look at this kind of shape.
Person?
Yeah, the person. I'll show you the next picture to show.
Oh.
Kind of a
yeah.
person almost peeing like that. Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, there are actually 3 types of subliminals. So like I showed you before, embedded images, so pictures or words that are hidden or flash really quickly. Yeah, flash quickly, I mean like when you see emotion or something like that, there are some images in between, like the example of the popcorn or the Coke, which you don't realize, but you see. And then sub-audible messages, so sounds or words that are too faint to be heard, or are played at extremely high frequencies, so at songs. I don't have examples now, but there are some songs where you can hear some tunes or words, and it gives you a topic or an emotion of the song. But they do that with music as well, and it's impressive. But there are loads of articles you can read about that. And electronically altered signals, so backward masking and other voice alterations. So part of voice comes in here as well, like we talked about yesterday for presentations. Yeah, like I said before, Vickery, that's the one that invented, that came up with the word and with the research. People thought, like, is this true? Is this not true? So they did another test. It was a Harvard study in 1999. And so what they did, they had a computer game. And during that computer game, they showed different words. The words were positive to one group, and the other group were negative words. Well, the positive words were wise, astute, and accomplished. And the negative words were senile, dependent, and diseased. So actually, the result of this, at the end, the group that had the negative words experienced a really annoying game. They were really frustrated in the game, and it didn't work well for them. And the ones that got the positive words, they had a really positive outcome, and they were really happy about the game, and they had a completely different take on this. So that's really interesting to see. People say, yeah, people don't know if it's really true, if it's a myth, but at the end you can see with all the pictures that I showed you and all the different theories that, in a way, there's, what do we believe? Do we need to watch out with the publicity right now? We don't know. And then, yeah, subliminal priming. That's just to highlight the quick instant messages that you can see in the video. So very quick. And here it's explained. We'll read it out loud with you. Priming occurs when a subliminal stimulus precedes or is paired with a subliminal message. So here you see the prime is flashed at about 16 milliseconds below the threshold conscious perception. So you see that's very, very quick. It's like impossible to see. Yeah. So there's another example of subliminal priming. So like I just explained what subliminal priming is, and there's another example of it, and it was actually with 2 females. There was one female that was just normal, and one was bulimia prone. You know what it is, bulimia prone? Right? Yeah. Okay. Then they got 3 messages each, they had 3 messages. One was "Mama's leaving me," "Mona's loaning it," and "Mama's loaning it." So afterwards, the females were taken to another room where they were invited to participate in a taste test involving crackers. So they both needed to taste the crackers. So the bulimia prone and the normal person. So the result is actually pretty interesting. Because the bulimia prone, so the female that was bulimia prone, was exposed.
What is bulimia from?
It's like when you don't, you want to eat at all, I think, right? It's like
You
yeah,
eat
it's
it
like
all,
a
but then you
Munching
yeah,
and
and then you
stuff.
vomit, and it's like eating disorder. So they were exposed to the maternal separation message. So "Mama is leaving me." Both, and the one had the other effect. So the one that was bulimia ate twice as many crackers. So I think that's really an interesting result in this group of females. So you can see again what words can do as well, not only messages but words as well. So and this context. And when I thought about cracker, and when I was reading about this topic on the internet and doing a bit of research, every time I saw so many pictures about subliminal messaging, people saw things in pictures and everything. And when I read about the theory about crackers, I saw another picture of a cracker and I was like, I need to show you. And here, well, it's really, really difficult to see on the PowerPoint presentation now, so I'm sorry about that. But actually, they said, like, in this cracker, you can see the letters S, E, X, X, so sex. But I looked at it 10 minutes and I couldn't see it really. I was like, yeah, I cannot see it at all. But I'm sorry, because it's a very fluid picture. It's not that good on the PowerPoint presentation. But actually, they showed this picture during, on packages and everything, on packaging. And actually here in the pixels, you could just see, well, I think you can see it kind of. There are just a few letters here that appear. But it was rated sex. And you see, like, so many people go on subliminal messaging, so at the end you don't know if it's really true. Like, I think this is just a matter of coincidence, but some brands really try to use these terms or to express this. So yeah, it can also have it has a huge effect. This subliminal messaging, is it good? That's the question. Is it bad? Well, it depends in what kind of context. Here, for example, there were police officers, and they were exposed to subliminal primes. So again, images that were really quick, showing negative stereotypes of African Americans, and they saw that. And then later on, they saw a case, and I think it was with the African Americans, and at the end, they had to give like a kind of conclusion, like on the scenario, what happened and what kind of punishment there should have been. And the people that saw the images before were completely different on the results. They were like, no, they should be punished really badly, and they were really like negative in it compared to the other group. So yeah, that's not really a good conclusion from that group. So you can see it can have a negative effect as well. So that's one example. So yeah, the caution regarding subliminal priming effects. So yeah, if you want to do it, if you want to use it as a marketeer, the effects of priming are short-lived. So it's really just a moment, and it cannot really be used for the long term. As we want to create long-term relationships with customers, for example, and we want to have that image in their head for a long time. The subliminal prime must still be perceived, and even if perception is without awareness. And at the end, the most important for the return on the investment, there's no proof of commercial viability. So if it's really working, how can you test it? What's the result on that?
Good question.
Yeah.
What's your personal opinion about it?
I wanted to ask you as well later on.
Apart from the commercial viability, which is not really proven, what's your personal opinion about it?
What do you think? Let me just reverse this question to you. What do you think? Have you been?
I think what you think.
No, have you been broadcasted? Have you been in contact with subliminal messaging? Do you think it happened to you?
I don't know, because it's subliminal. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah? That's a really good one.
I just know that Michael Jackson had subliminal messages in one of his songs when he declined. So obviously he did everything to get back on track.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the last resort. And once I knew that, I even liked him less.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion is I wouldn't do it, even if it was commercially viable. My second opinion is that it's completely the opposite of what's happening today in communications with people on networks. This is really the past.
Yeah, you
very
think
much
it's
the past of the 50s, or like
it's
broadcasting
definitely
and manipulating people.
It's definitely a good point. That's why I also showed you the other word of subliminal messaging in the beginning. That's the alternative word of it, and that's product placement. Because product placement you will always see, and it keeps on going. And in a way, it's true, because subliminal messaging, they found it out back in the days, and they were not really happy about it. So they did everything to abolish this, to make sure that there was a law on it, to make sure that this would not happen. But in a way, you can see with the images that I just show you as well, with different words, you can still make the perception of a person a bit different, and it's still happening even if you don't, if you think it's the boss. It's in your subconsciousness, and it's so difficult to realize.
I would say it's 2014 now. I would say that if a brand does this, I would publish it on the
Yeah,
internet.
Of course.
And a brand who does this
That's your
should be
opinion,
a
yeah.
popular brand.
I can totally understand your opinion as well. So if they do it, they need to be also very careful how they do it and what they want to point out. So, but I agree with you today with the social media.
They
you
can
really
expect
share-
they can expect negative repercussions.
Yeah. That's an effect of it, definitely. That's why I also brought this point up. I wanted to see if you knew about it as well, and see if you really if you believe in it or not, and your opinions about it. So it's really good. Thank you for your feedback. So here, that's the question. Do you think you were all shown subliminal messages before? What do you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Ah,
Well,
I
you
think
realize
you cannot even realize it sometimes. If you don't know it, you don't know it. No, but just in case if people said no, I had a few movies prepared, so I'm sure some of the people watch movies. But in these movies, there are all subliminal messages as well. I'm not going to go deep in it. I'm not going to explain you all these messages. But if you want, I have a few links as well. When I was doing the research, and I can give you a link where it's all explained what you can see in that movie, like what kind of message was broadcasted. But like some movies like Fight Club, Kill Bill, King Kong, The Matrix, there are some messages there. I think that's really interesting. So yeah, and then when I was doing the research, I saw this this image. This is not me. This is what you think. So it depends what you see in this. That's subliminal messaging. But I think this is a really interesting picture. Some people don't see anything in it. They just see people on the beach, and some people see a lot of things. Like for example here, maybe I can use the pointer for this. So here. Like for example, the guy here sitting here. Here, the guy is waiting for a frisbee, but here it looks a bit different. And this guy is just walking on the beach. And I don't know what the other guy's doing, but that looks weird. And here, of course, the tennis racket. So I think it's it's a nice message, a nice picture for it. And I think a bit nicer, not as vulgar as the other one, is this logo. I think it's genius. I don't know if you see it. But just read it. What is it? It's a brand of wines. Can you see the wine glasses?
Yeah.
I think that's excellent, really.
Yes.
And some people won't see it, but again, it will arrive in your subconsciousness. I think that's genius. This is nice marketing. So you can even use it today, subliminal messaging.
This is not really
But
subliminal.
no, not really. But
It's
it's in
just
your
nice.
subconscious.
Yeah.
No, but it's in your
Just a nice
subconscious.
graphical idea. It's a good graphic designer. That's all.
Okay, let's do it. And then another vulgar one, just to finish it, but I found it was also brilliant because this was in the 60s. It was in a newspaper, and well, of course they use a woman. That's much easier. But here you see like just a woman like touching your shoulder, and actually when you turn it upside down, you see something else. But that was like back in the 60s, and I found it really interesting that it was used like this. But this is when you type in subliminal messaging on the internet. This is the example that you will see first. So yeah, if there are any questions about subliminal messaging, or if you want to have the links to see what kind of messages you've been seeing before but you don't know and don't realize about, well, let me know.
Yeah, I have some during your research because the example with the Coke and popcorn we also had in our marketing book, and as it said like it's not viable and it's not true and it doesn't work, and they stated that if you don't, like, for example, there was a Marlboro, you see it, but if you don't even like see it, like it's just a glimpse, you don't notice, then it doesn't work. Do you have found any real evidence that this has an effect, or?
What do you mean with the fast images that you see?
Yeah.
That you don't realize that
Yeah.
it works? Yeah, there are a lot of researchers. There are many researches that are done. I can't give an example straight away, but like when you look at the results, so of course they always picked a group that had different images and a group that had these images, and the results were completely different. So it had a huge effect actually. So actually a lot of researchers did some research on it because they wanted to test the theory. They were like, is this really fraud? Is this really true? And actually, it is. It is kind of true. It's also how you perceive it. Yeah. We talked about it before.